Welcome to the Scrum.org Community Podcast, a podcast from the home of Scrum. In this podcast, we feature professional Scrum trainers and other Scrum practitioners sharing their stories and experiences to help learn from the experience of others. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ryan Ripley with Agile for Humans and professional Scrum trainer with Scrum.org. I'm stepping in as a guest host for episodes. I hope you enjoy getting to know these amazing people. All right, welcome to a new episode of Becoming a Scrum Master. I'm your host, Ryan Ripley. Joining me today, fellow professional Scrum trainer, Jowen. How are we doing tonight?
Hi, good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining. Really appreciate you doing this. We're going to jump right into the questions so that people can hear all about your journey of becoming a Scrum Master. So the first one here, can you share the story of how you first encountered Scrum and what motivated you to become a Scrum Master? Was there a particular moment or experience that sparked your interest?
Okay, then we have to go back to 2010. I had my first Scrum experience. I was a developer. I worked in a Microsoft stack, so I was a C# developer. And I actually fell in love with Scrum. It made sense to me. I have to think about autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So autonomy, we were able to decide a lot of things ourselves. There was focus on the teams, collaboration with other teams. If I think about mastery, we were doing TDD, we had architectural workshop. I think we even had Uncle Bob a workshop, was really cool. And purpose, we actually had to work with customers, which was new to me, because before I was also being put away in the basement because we were not allowed to see customers. They were scared of us. So I really liked Scrum. I think even till this day, it was one of the most experienced Scrum environments. And that really formed me as a Scrum Master. Actually, after this experience, I even had my own startup where I said, hey, I'm going to only work Agile from now on. I'm going to sell Agile stuff because it has both benefits for me as a supplier and for the customer. Well, I can admit that in the first year, I didn't sell anything. It was really hard. And apparently people really don't like uncertainty. Anyway, so I also turned out to be a pretty bad PO, by the way. But after that, I went back into consultancy and I said, okay, I like development. So in the beginning, I was a developer and did a little bit of Scrum mastering. But over the years, that gradually shifted. And I think after 5 or 6 years, I said I'm going to focus fully on Scrum mastering because I think for two reasons. The first one is, as a developer, there's a lot of stuff to keep up to date on technology and whatnot. I thought Scrum Master is also a really hard role, and I just don't have the capacity to do both really well. And I think the Scrum Mastering stuff also helps me in day-to-day life, personal life, which was really cool. And the second thing is, a big insight, is that I really love to make an impact. That gives me energy. And I think technology is really cool. I think the biggest problem, and therefore also solutions, has to do with people. We are strange human beings, and how we motivate ourselves and how we organize ourselves, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. So, that's in a nutshell my story.
That's awesome. During that time, was there a specific project or situation where you had like a eureka moment? And perhaps a more international way of saying that, because eureka may not be common, and like a light bulb moment where an inspiration struck, something that made you realize the true power and potential of Scrum. And if so, could you describe that experience?
So like I mentioned a little bit before, I think my journey was a little bit gradual.
Sure.
But what I really enjoyed in my first Scrum experience was the transparency. We made our plans visible. I know you love story points, by the way. We still did story points and velocity. But just making stuff transparent also for other teams, but also for management and also for stakeholders, it felt natural to me. And then we also got feedback on that, so that allowed us to inspect and adapt, which I've if I think about it now, it's really common sense, but that time it wasn't. It really wasn't. So to me, that was really what I enjoyed about Scrum.
And maybe I can redirect the question a little bit. You talked about having an impact. Is there a moment you can think of where, as a Scrum Master or using Scrum, you saw a noticeable, tangible, measurable impact on the people you were working with? Maybe that's a better way to ask this question for your story.
A measurable impact.
Or just a noticeable would be fine.
What comes to mind is, because I also ask feedback from my peers, if I'm doing well or other things that I can improve. And once I was also at a company, and the CTO gave me a nice compliment. He said, "You've impacted and improved the culture."
Oh, wow.
I said, "Wow." I said, "Can you explain that a little bit?" He said, by leading by example, showing the right values, motivating people, and that really was it was really motivating to hear.
That's awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best compliments we can get, right?
The fact that this one pops up, that it means a lot to me. Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit. How has your perception and execution of the Scrum Master role evolved, or the accountabilities, right? We now say accountabilities. Are there aspects of the role or accountabilities that you view differently now compared to when you first started?
Oh my, of course. I think if you do not change your perspective, then something's maybe wrong. When I started as a Scrum Master, I was really telling people what to do. I only looked at practices. I had people with the Scrum guide. I said, no, you have to do this, you have to do this. And then I noticed that I was not really empowering people, not really motivating people. So I said, okay, I have to find more arguments. I have to be better in discussions. I should try to persuade people. And maybe I should not say this online, but I actually remember that I had a 1-hour PowerPoint to explain my team why they should have an analog sprint backlog instead of a digital one.
Wonderful.
So I had all these slides with arguments and examples, and I just tried to persuade them. That also didn't work, of course. Then I tried working on my teaching skills, which, by the way, is a great way to learn yourself. I think in the end, I realized that it's not about persuading people or convincing people. It is about coaching, inspiring, facilitating, guiding, those kind of things. Because if you want to have real change and real sustainable improvements, people need to take ownership. I think that is a key lesson for me the last few years. But it has been a struggle. It is not easy, I can tell you.
Oh, if it were easy, everyone would do it, right?
That's true.
So what advice would you give to someone aspiring to become a Scrum Master? Is there a particular mindset, skill, or habit that you believe is crucial for someone to be successful in this role, or while fulfilling the accountabilities?
The one that comes to mind is curiosity. Really try to understand why things are going on, because I strongly believe that people do it with right intentions, but there's something in the environment or in the mental models or whatnot that maybe let them behave in a different way. So try to dig deep, be humble, which is quite hard for me to do, but I think it's really valuable trait of a Scrum Master. And what I also like, the motto is, it either goes well or you learn something. So this experimental mindset of, just try it out, see what happens. You will get feedback, you will inspect and adapt, and along the lines, you will continuously improve. That's also one part I really love about Scrum, by the way, is the continuous improvement mindset. If you take small steps every sprint, then in a year's time, you will have improved significantly.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Curiosity, being humble, and just experiment.
Love it. 3 great things that the world could use more of.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, last one. You've done well, and I appreciate you working through these. What is the one book every Scrum Master should read? And it does not have to be a Scrum book. It does not have to be an Agile book. And it does not have to be my book or books, even though one of them is sitting like right back here. I'd prefer it isn't one of mine.
No, that's fine. So if I look back at my journey, so coming from a pretty binary developer, talking about bits and bytes, I now have the feeling that I'm an amateur psychologist. The book that I really enjoyed was The Responsibility Process.
Oh, Christopher Avery's work.
Exactly. Because it really shows insight, okay, how does it actually work in people's brains when they want to take ownership of stuff or when they avoid ownership? And that really, it was very insightful, at least to me.
Yeah, Christopher has done some great work in that space. That's a wonderful poll. I haven't heard people talking about that too much lately, but that book is wonderful. That's a great, I love that one. Thanks for sharing that one. Thanks for bringing that one back up. I might actually have to reread Responsibility Process in 2024 because you've just kind of brought it to front of mind. So
I also wrote a post about it on Medium, but it's actually a really good book.
Great. Well, Jowen, I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to spend a little more time with you. Really appreciate you doing this. Anything you want to get in front of the Agile for Humans audience and listener base before we call it a day?
Not really.
Okay.
I just want to thank you and all the awesome work that you guys are doing. So keep it up.
Well, thank you. We will certainly try to keep things going.